Hey, what's going on? This is Mike Sunday. Today I wanted to talk to you about what I think is some of the finest jewelry in the world, and certainly my favorite brand, Good Art Hollywood, based in Los Angeles, California. Firstly, I want to talk about how I got introduced to the brand and how I met Josh Warner, the founder of the company. 2, I'm going to go over my collection in order that I purchased each item, or I received them, I should say. Lastly, I'll give some recommendations on care, cleaning, and if you're looking to get into owning some good art jewelry, maybe where you should start. So a lot of people have asked me how I got into good art, how I actually met Josh, and it's a funny story. In one of my trips to Japan back in 2016, I was at a bar named Narukio, which is a fantastic little izakaya, and I was there with my girlfriend, and we were sat up at the bar beside Josh and I think probably some of the people who either wear good art or were actually stockists, so people that carry good art in Tokyo. And, you know, we were some of the only people who spoke English in the place. So, we got to talking because Josh, I believe at the time, had a beautiful Leica and I had complimented him on it. And yeah, we just got to talking. We exchanged numbers and, it's funny, we had actually stayed in touch ever since. I didn't really know too much about good art at the time. I looked into it more, and good art wasn't something I could afford at the time. The pieces are quite expensive, but incredibly beautiful. And just as an incredible gift of kindness, Josh had sent me a piece. So he had actually sent me a chain as well as a lightning pendant and one of the balls here that is also a pendant. So I was just so touched by that, and ever since I had received that gift from him, I don't think I've ever taken it off, certainly not for the last, since I had received it until more recently, where I've gotten some other pieces that I've purchased. I think what I'm going to do with the chain that I was given way back when, I don't wear it anymore because I tend to like my necklaces a little bit shorter now, but I'll probably clip the chain and see if I can turn it into a shorter necklace and also use the remaining bits as a bracelet. So that's how I met Josh. We've stayed in touch ever since. And him and his team, his partner Rachel, they have just such an incredible vibe. I've been lucky enough to visit their foundry a few times, hang out with the people there. So just such incredible attention to detail. And to me, Good Art Hollywood represents everything good about the American dream. It's true American luxury. Things are made in the US, without all the connotation of political discourse these days. Take away all that negative stuff, all the truly good things about American manufacturing, American luxury, you can find in Good Art Hollywood. So it's just a really, really special brand. And what's super striking about their process is they obviously employ a lot of traditional methods, but they're also not afraid to use very modern techniques in some of the casting. They have 3D printers there. So it's really this blend between modern and heritage or traditional that I think is part of their everlasting appeal and why it is so special. The hardware on Good Art Hollywood cannot be beat. I don't care what anyone says. Compared to other silver jewelry brands or any brand period, the hardware is so satisfying to use. And I think anyone who handles Good Art Hollywood just knows what I mean. The feeling is so satisfying. It's so clicky. It's almost like its own sort of fidget toy. It's addictive to play with. So if you're lucky enough to ever get your hands on some Good Art Hollywood, and just give it a play with, and you'll understand what I mean right away. I think when people see Good Art Hollywood, they hear about the heritage sort of stylistically, why it's, the way it is. Being from Los Angeles, the immediate comparison is to Chrome Hearts. I don't think that's an unfair comparison, but in my humble opinion, Good Art HLYWD's quality far surpasses that of Chrome Hearts. If especially when you look at some of the hardware and the fastenings and how these things come together, it's not even close. Chrome, a lot of those pieces are super flimsy. I do not like the clasps. They're garbage. And also too, Chrome Hearts has so much hype around it. Rightfully so. I think aesthetically it's great. It has a lot of history behind it as well, but it's not obtainable. It's something that you either have to be a very VIP for, or you have to pay resale, and it's not a game that I want to play. I love the honesty behind Good Art. You can just go to their site, you can order something, it's made to order unless it's from the section that it's already been made, so you can get that right away, but there is a wait time. You don't have to have any of this purchase history. You don't have to play any of those stupid games that a lot of these brands make you play. So I really appreciate Good Art HLYWD for that as well. I want to talk about some of the pieces that are my favorite. The first, maybe I'll start with what I was originally gifted by Josh. So it's this long 24-inch ball chain with their old type of connector. And this connector is great. It sort of just fastens in. And then this larger lightning bolt with this piece here, which is the ball. I actually use this on my keys now because the way the older hardware was made, it doesn't quite fit nicely on some of the newer pieces, so that's why it's there. All the modern Good Art stuff, they work modularly and can fit on all the ball chains, which I really appreciate. It's so fun to swap the pieces in and out. So that was the first gift I ever received from the Good Art family, which I feel very blessed for. After that, a few years later, when I first visited their foundry, I picked up a club ring, which I love. I wear every day. It's my pinky ring. It's so beautiful, and it's their signature rosette. I would say you'll notice a theme here. My favorite motifs from Good Art are the rosettes and the lightning bolts. I just think they're so elegant and beautiful, and they do, they're emblematic of the brand. It's so striking. To me, it's just the quintessential motif that they provide, and it's one of their oldest patterns, so I really love that. I bought the club ring while I was there. It's highly unusual. Even though you're able to make an appointment at the family room, that does not necessarily mean they'll have your sizes on stock or anything like that. It's generally just to check out the pieces, and then you can place an order. That same time, I also bought this chain here, which is the Model 22. It's one of their relatively newer chains that they do. It's almost like a Gucci link or like an anchor chain traditionally. I believe this is the A size or potentially the AA size. And how the sizing works is, I believe Josh, when they're figuring out the new piece, whatever size they settle on, that is the A. And then so if you go to a B or a C, that gets bigger. If you go to a AA or a AAA, that gets smaller. So this might be a AA or an A, but this is the 22 bracelet. I love it. It's great. It's a fantastic everyday piece. And what is so compelling about this one is that the hardware, how it closes, is hidden, and it's such a fascinating little mechanism. So love that piece. After that, I believe I got the cigar band ring, which is a beauty. It has an open back, so it kind of has some flexibility with sizing. I would recommend going a little bit smaller if you're sort of in between sizes, and it has their goosebump motif on, which I absolutely love. I love the blending of the goosebumps and the smoother finishes. That's something that I often like to do when I'm considering ordering my pieces. And I also got the Model 8 clip. They'll say it themselves. They have a few classics that have sort of stood the test of time. I believe this is one of them, and I have absolutely beat the shit out of it, and I love it. It's such a fun little dangly thing, and the spring is still as good as ever. And I use this every day to hold my keys. If you're considering picking up a Model 8 clip, I would also recommend one of their beautiful spring rings. The spring ring, as you can see here, also has a spring mechanism on it, and it hooks so nicely into the actual Model 8 clip itself. You'll see here as well, I have some Good Art. I think they call them jump rings, and they're not really meant to be twisted too many times, but you can use them to hold your keys, which I really love. Moving on here to some of the chains. I have the smaller gauge chain, which has a similar type of closure or fastener to the old school style big one. And then I have these two pop lock, which is probably the most fun you could have with a bracelet or a necklace. They have a spring mechanism in there, and it's so satisfying to use. I cannot recommend it enough. I would like to probably get another one for a bracelet and another one for a necklace as well. You can see some of the rondelles here that I have for my initials and my girlfriend's initials, as well as a rosette pendant. This is the puka necklace, which actually combines a woven vintage bandana necklace component with this incredibly heavy duty puka shell type thing in the middle with a fantastic mechanism in the back. So I really like this piece. Finally, you can see here some of the charms. The St. Christopher pendant I think is just totally lovely with the rosette, and you have St. Christopher here on the back. And then finally, the pièce de résistance. I would say this is the absolute signature piece of Good Art Hollywood. This is the Model 10 bracelet. This is something that Good Art has been working on, I think, since probably close to when the company started. It's been iterated on so many times. You cannot find a better clasp than this. It is so well done. Normally what happens when you have a Cuban style link is that all the pieces are molded together and it's twisted and flattened. They don't do that here. Each of these links is hand cast, cut open, and then soldered together. So that's why you get such a beautiful shape, and that's why you get the roundness of the links as opposed to sort of a flat piece. And to me, this is just emblematic of exactly what Good Art stands for. Fantastic silver jewelry with incredibly thoughtful hardware, something that will last you a lifetime. And it is just so beautiful to look at. It's a flagship piece. It comes with a flagship price, but if you're ever lucky enough to own a Model 10 bracelet, I think you'll understand what I mean right away when it is truly special. Finally here, I had actually asked Josh about this. I was looking for a soft release button for my Leica. He was kind enough to actually dig this model out of the archives, and I feel like this might be a one of one as of right now. Maybe if you're watching this, he will have released this to the public, but this is the Desert Sessions soft release button here on my Leica. I'm also gonna talk a little bit about care. The silver jewelry is meant to be worn. It is not precious by any means. I think the aesthetic reflects that. It's very rugged, but also too, the care for the pieces, you can actually, wearing it, it gets sort of this nice patina. When it comes out of the box, when you receive your piece, it'll be very polished. And as you wear it, the sweat and all this stuff kind of builds up, and it sort of takes some of that initial shine off of it. You can see here actually with my longer chain, I haven't worn it in quite a while. It's starting to really dull out, so I'll show you how you can actually wash it and bring some of the luster back to it. When it comes to the actual pieces with springs, what you want to do is use some lubrication in there after you've given them a good wash. And Josh himself recommends you just take some normal hand soap and you rub it in between your hands, and that'll get most of the grime off. If you really want some of that high polish back, you can take a polishing cloth to it, but it's not necessary. I kind of like how it looks sort of with this semi-shine, but also some of the patina. And other than that, with the lubrication, you just let it sort of dry out and then continue wearing as normal. This is tough jewelry, people. You do not have to baby this stuff. That's why I love it. It can grow with you every day. One last thing I forgot to record. So if you're looking to get into the world of good art, I would 100% recommend starting with a pop lock, whether that's the bracelet or the necklace. You just get the satisfying hardware. You have so much offering in this simple mechanism or piece, but you'll become addicted for sure. And the price point as far as good art goes is on their more entry-level side. So if you're looking to get into the world of good art Hollywood, I would recommend either a pop lock bracelet or necklace. That's where I would recommend entering the ecosystem. After you get your pop lock, you might be looking at more of like a chain, or my recommendation actually would be to get a clip. I think for what it is, this is going to become your companion for life. And so while it is a step up in terms of cost, it is something that will be with you until the end of time, like truly as long as you take care of it, but don't baby it. It'll just get more beautiful and beautiful. So I'd recommend getting a keychain set up as an intermediate collector of good art. And then finally, the big boy stuff, I would either recommend a wallet chain, or if they're offering it at the time, a Model 10 bracelet. Like I said, this is the flagship. Any of the heavy duty chains, whether it's going to be a wallet chain or a necklace or this bracelet in this particular case here, you're going to want something heavier with the real hardware. That's the good stuff. So that's how I would recommend getting into good art in that order. Start with a pop lock. Maybe if you're really into it, get a keychain, and then finally get yourself some real hardware, the heavy duty stuff, the Model 10, the flagship. Wherever I go, I always wear my jewelry. I always wear my good art. And it's just such a comfortable feeling to know that you always have this piece that's not going to give up on you, especially when you look at like a Model 10, for example. You know that that is never going to fall off. It's virtually impossible for the mechanism to fall off. And you just know that wherever you are, you have such a beautiful piece with you, and it is a symbol of quality, hard work, and just earnestness, but the design is gorgeous. I'm obsessed. Good Art Hollywood, my favorite jewelry company in the world. If you were lucky enough to ever go to the family room, tell them Mike Sunday sent you, but that's it for now. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can appreciate some of this jewelry like I do, and we'll see you on the next one.